Celtics win 103-91. This is the Garden Report on CLNS Radio in Celtics. Garden Report with me, Evans Clinchy, Jimmy Toscano. They both rep the Celticsblog Nation. My name is Jared Weiss from CLNSradio.com. Lucas Parolin behind the camera right now, scribbling on his notepad. These guys are dapping it up, but I'm not getting any love because I'm talking. Celtics win 103-91.
That's definitely why.
Lockout is over in the NHL, so we're up in the rafters. You can hear them drilling behind us. The ice is coming down. They're going to be skating on the rink tomorrow, it looks like, for a practice. So for all you hockey fans, get excited. For all you beard fans, get disappointed because the streak...
For some people,
it's over. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. We're going to talk about the bench and the youngins producing. We're going to take a look at the defensive strategy for the Celtics. It's working. It's working. The Celtics are playing pretty good defense.
Who would have thought defense would work?
And then we'll throw some bows boxing out, and then we'll ball out. I'll throw out some shout-outs because I got some people I got to throw shout-outs at. Obviously. And then we got an announcement, which you probably already heard if you're a fan of the Garden Report, but we'll give it to you anyway at the end of the show.
Right out, 12 of you.
So let's get into it right now. Thanks, Jimmy, Dick. The bench. It's looking good right now. The bench has been carrying them the past few games through the middle of the game, allowing the starters to close out. Yeah. Evans, just because you haven't been on the show in a little bit of a while, I will start with you. Green, Sully, Lee, those guys are getting it done.
Yeah, well, as Doc Rivers explained tonight, it all started with Avery Bradley coming back into the rotation. You start Bradley, you put Courtney Lee and Jeff Green back in the second unit. Now, everybody knows Courtney Lee and Jason Terry back in the second unit. Everyone knows their role. Everyone does what they're supposed to do. And now everybody's coming together and playing their roles. I mean, it took a while for everybody to find their position in the rotation. Now they found it, and now they're all kind of gelling together. It's nice to see.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't have a whole lot to add to that. I think we saw it last game, too. I mean, now that Bradley's back, Terry goes to the bench. You've got Sellinger playing the best basketball of his career. You've got Lee playing the best basketball of his Celtics career. Same with Green. I mean, those four guys are leading your bench, and this is the vision Danny Ainge had when he put this team together. This is exactly what he thought would happen. The starters go in, play 6 or 7 solid minutes. Then the bench goes in and plays 6 or 7 solid minutes. Then and we saw that tonight. They actually played the bench. The bench had more minutes than the starters did by the end of the first half, and that's why you saw in the third quarter. Some guys started. Like guys like Pierce. They were fresh. They were spry coming out of halftime, and I think that's exactly what they need out of the bench. They need to give their starters some rest and keep them in the high 20s, low 30s in the minutes tonight for everybody on the Celtics starting lineup.
Yeah, a month ago the conversation was this team can't do anything right with KG on the bench. Yeah. We're not having that conversation anymore. They got Jared Sullinger in there. He's giving them energy. He's giving them rebounding. He's giving them scoring. They don't need to rely on KG for 35 minutes a night every single night. Right. They can have other guys sustain them, and it's great that we have a team now with this kind of depth and this kind of cohesion, and it's not just one guy carrying them. It's really refreshing to see.
Well, the question is, can they keep KG off the court and let the bench just play the entire game, because the bench is playing so well right now.
It'd be nice, but you're paying KG a decent amount of money to play, so you might as well.
Sullinger gets winded.
You might as well use him. You might as well use him when you can, because he's they still have an issue. I mean, obviously they're better with KG on the floor. Yeah. It's just nice that they're starting to compete without him on the floor. Yeah. They don't look so helpless without him. So, and that comes with practice, and comes with playing together, and they are now. So
I raised my pen too soon, but you just mentioned Sullinger getting winded. He played 12 minutes, I think, in the second quarter, right? Didn't he play the entire second quarter? That's a lot for that guy. A guy that was just labeled round by his coach, or at least round when he saw him for the draft. But Sullinger has been, because people, we talked earlier about how Bradley's been the defensive revolution, but Sullinger's been even better, because Bradley's kind of inspired this change in the way that they attack on the perimeter, but Sullinger's been an absolute animal on offensive rebounding. A month ago, we were talking about how the Celtics' offensive rebounding woes were so bad they got to trade or they might need to make a move for a big man. Yeah. Now Sullinger's like one of the best offensive rebounders in the league right now.
Ever.
Yeah, and KG talked about he's the best ever. He's West Cell 2.0. Dave Cowan's in the flesh. But KG talked about Sully after the game and the relationship that those two have developed.
Practice, man. Myself, BB, JC, he plays different bigs in practice. We all three bring a different dynamic when we guard him and when he plays us. He's starting to carry some of that over into the game. We have very physical practices, very passionate practices. I think at first he was used to like one speed and kind of, being able to dominate. And on this level, multiple people can dominate him. And I think he's did a great job of making the adjustments. And very smart kid, man. Thing with him, I always tell him just repetitive, consistency, be consistent with what you're doing. And he's been doing that. I'm glad to see him do well, man.
A lot of praise for Sully. Jimmy Sully he had those plays where 3 guys around him. Yeah. He gets an arm in one guy, creates that space, ball falls into him.
He's not the biggest guy on the court. He never will be, but he's one of the widest guys on the court. So he uses that to his advantage. Everyone talks about his butt. I'm not going to get into details. But
it's bootylicious.
It's bigger than the average.
Spectacular.
Bigger than the average bottom. So that helps, and he uses it. And I just think he's throwing caution to the wind out there. I mean, he's a young guy. He loves to play. When he gets to play and he's not getting called for fouls, he loves to be out there. He goes hard. And he said last week he's got no reason to hold back. He's one of the younger guys in the team. He doesn't play a ton of minutes. So when he does play, he's going to leave it all out there and give it on. We're seeing that on the boards especially.
And he's the conductor of the Underground Railroad right now, so he's got to push the team forward. You weren't here Wednesday night. You missed that one.
That one, yeah.
Oh, it's a good one.
He did miss that, but also real quick, he's also very good. He's a very good touch with the ball, in his hands. Like he just finds a way to get the ball in the basket. Yep. No plays are drawn for him. He's quick with the loose balls. He gets them up there, and sometimes a lot of those balls he is getting fouled, and he's not getting the call. Eventually, he's going to get those calls, and he'll be good.
All right, let's go to the defensive strategy. We talked too many times about how much better this defense is. It looks like the old Celtics defense. The Rockets were scoring 115 for the last few games. Yeah. They're down to 91 on tonight's game. I mean, Evans, the backcourt was pretty solid for the Rockets. It wasn't like they had a bad game, but the front court is where they really struggled. Besides Patrick Patterson becoming a three-point shooter, I don't know what he and Darrell Arthur are drinking during the offseason, but that stuff is working, especially when they come to Boston.
The Celtics are letting.
Well, you say the backcourt's not the problem because Harden and Lin got their points. But the ball pressure did keep them from getting the ball into the paint for those big guys. And so, the reason guys like Ashik and Marcus Morris aren't scoring is that they can't make entry passes because they got Avery Bradley draped all over them the whole game.
That's a good point.
And Bradley's ball pressure is contagious because when Bradley's pressuring the ball, 50, 60 feet of the floor, it's contagious. And Rondo wants to do that, and Courtney Lee wants to do that, and even Jason Terry, who's not known for his defense, wants to pressure the ball a little bit too. So everyone on the team's pressuring the ball. The Rockets can't move the ball at all. I mean, they can't get the ball inside to anybody. And so it really is a chain reaction from the ball pressure from Bradley.
One thing to understand about this whole chain reaction thing is that the reason why that happens, it's not just, I'm so excited, I'm going to go pressure the ball right now. It's that when Bradley pressures the ball, they got to get rid of it, which means that you got to be active because your man who doesn't have the ball. So, let's say whoever's covering, like the wing player out on the weak side or something like that, the guy with the ball that's getting pressured by Bradley is going to have to try to seek that person out, and you have to put pressure on him. So Bradley's play, it's not just inspiration. It's that his amount of intensity on defense is forcing everyone else to remain aware early in the shot clock.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I think that, when one man plays full court press, that's kind of like the whole team playing full court press. You don't need everybody to be applying the same pressure as that one guard is, because that's slowing down. That's slowing down tonight. The Rockets' offense is getting them into this set slower, and it's a chain, and it is kind of a chain reaction because everyone benefits from that ball pressure. I just thought that it's great to have a guy like Bradley who is your shutdown defender guy. He's like the Tony Allen that the Celtics had back in the day when they were winning games that way through that through that defense. They put Tony Allen on a wing player like that, and he would do his best, and he would usually do a great job with that. So it's good to see that out of Bradley now, and I think that's a big reason why they're winning games.
And another reason why they won tonight's game was poor free throw shooting from the Rockets. Doc talked after the game about how they wanted to get the Rockets big men at the line.
That was terrific. Yeah, it was part of the game plan. It really was with Ashik. I mean, I was livid, and they knew it. He got 2 layups to start the game, and that's the one thing we said they cannot happen. He's shooting 50%. He's got to shoot free throws. And he got 2 dunks, I think, right to start the game. So, usually he shoots better than that. He shoots 50%. So.
So Asha going 1 for 8 from the line, that was really big for them. Is that they couldn't finish at the free throw line. Celtics were able to kind of counteract the way that the Rockets were getting out on the break with 24 fast break points by forcing them to slow the game down by going to the line, with the big guns going to the line. So that was really big for them. Now we're going to keep going into the numbers. We're boxing out now. Evans, what's your stat of the night?
My stat is 14. That's how many consecutive games James Harden scored 25 points or more. Every game between last time the Celtics played the Rockets back in mid-December and this time they played the Rockets, he scored 25 plus.
Ooh. Stat.
So now he scores, 24.
24.
Got him. It is under 25, technically, so...
Hey.
Jack Bauer saved the day again.
The streak is busted.
Yeah, so the Celtics putting a little bit more defensive pressure on Harden than usual, but he's still going to get his points.
I'm going to rewind
great,
the tape.
great scorer.
Okay,
I'm just
Anyway,
stat.
Thanks, Jimmy.
My stat is not really a stat, but it's Paul Pierce's line in the third quarter. He came out in the third quarter on fire, and I think that, again, had a lot to do with the bench. So Paul Pierce, he had 11 points in the third quarter, 3 or 4 from the field, 2 or 3 from 3, got to the line as well. So I thought Paul Pierce was the difference in the third quarter. The Celtics came out on fire. Pierce drained those back-to-back threes, and I think, like I said, if he's playing like 15, 16, 17 minutes in the first half, maybe he's not putting that production together in the third quarter. So it's nice to see him benefit from the rest of the first and apply that to the second.
So my stat of the night, Celtics are 6-0 when Jared Sullinger gets 9+ rebounds. Shout out to Stats Adam for getting us that stat.
Ooh, good stat.
I mean,
Is that good?
It's pretty good, right? I mean, I'm not one that really believes in the whole if this guy gets one stat category thing, then they have this kind of record thing. But that really stands out because we've been talking about it so much and actually see that it literally is the reason why, or one of the key reasons why the Celtics are winning. The correlation there is just unbelievable.
I mean, that's been their Achilles heel is rebounding, and especially offensively. They're not a bad defensive rebounding team. They really aren't. I mean, when you look at their percentages, they're not terrible, but they are a terrible offensive rebounding team. So that's what Sullinger has brought, and I think it's honestly, it's not that unrealistic to think that he can grab 9 boards a night if he's getting 25 minutes a night.
It really isn't.
It's not, which is crazy to think now.
I think we're expecting him to average around 8 or 9 rebounds a night at this point.
I mean, like 7, definitely, like 7 to 10. Like
depending on minutes. I mean, Doc knows he can jerk your minutes around when you're a rookie and he doesn't trust you. So it depends.
Right.
All right, let's ball out now. Baller of the night. Evans, who is your player of the game?
That guy you were just talking about, Jared Sullinger, he's pretty good. Sullinger tonight, well, he had 14 points and 11 rebounds tonight. He's my baller of the night. Yeah.
Okay.
14 points, 11 boards tonight. He had 12 and 16 last game against Phoenix. So that's, 26 points and 27 boards in his last 2 games. That's pretty ridiculous for a rookie. I mean, just the fact that Doc Rivers has shown a willingness to trust Sullinger when he's never trusted a rookie throughout the KG era, pretty much. Sullinger's really come through him. He's been I don't know what you want to call him, but he's been really just energetic and really great for this.
A revelation.
A revelation. There you go. Sullinger's great.
I agree. I would even go as far as say he's the player of the winning streak.
Wow.
Would you say that?
Yep.
I'll go with Bradley for that. But
you're going to go with Bradley? All right.
Yeah.
Well, here's a quick little note before I get to my player.
Okay.
Bradley and Sullinger are the 2 biggest reasons for this 5-game winning streak.
Okay.
Also, the 2 youngest players on the Celtics.
Wow.
Veteran team.
Dare we say a youth movement?
I don't know.
In Boston.
What did Kevin Garnett say about that?
We're not gonna get into that.
Check the tape on KG later. This guy had a pretty fun.
It wasn't me. That was somebody else. But anyways, my player of the game is Courtney Lee. I think Lee is the guy who is gonna have to buy into his role. Maybe it's going to be difficult for him to buy into his role more than a lot of other players because I think his minutes are going to get cut down on certain nights. But I think the past in this winning streak as well, I think he's been a player who's really showed up and really stepped up, especially on the defensive end. And guys like Kevin Garnett have specifically said that Courtney Lee and Avery Bradley, when they're at the 2 guard spots, they're exceptional on defense. And I think Lee, even on offense, lately has been bringing it. And I looked it up earlier today. He's second in the NBA in field goal percentage. He's second in the NBA as a shooting guard in field goal percentage with a minimum 100 attempts. He's shooting like 485, 490% after tonight. So, and he's only behind Dwayne Wade. So the shooting slump that he was in to start the season, I think that's gone because the past 30 days he's been bringing it.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, for me, I'm going to do Jimmy's best friend, Kevin Garnett. If you want to see the video, if you want to know what we're talking about, go to the CLNS Radio YouTube page or go on to CLNS Radio. You can find it there. It's a pretty funny moment. Definitely one of the funny moments in the locker room this year. But KG, I don't use this stat very often, but I thought it was pretty indicative of what he did tonight. He was a plus 17, game high plus 17 in the plus-minus column. But what I loved about him was that maybe because he was inspired by his boy Kevin McHale being there tonight, right, or maybe because, I don't know if he was listening, but before the game, Kevin McHale was talking a ton about how he helped KG develop his post-game and the fadeaway shot. Mm-hmm. You know, KG's trademark shot, that baseline turnaround fadeaway jumper. He did it tonight. He hasn't done that since like the 2009 season. We haven't seen it in forever. People are dying apparently in the background, but
in the name of hockey.
In the name of hockey. But I mean, KG was pulling out all of like the double head fakes, which I don't really think work. Actually, I think he usually screws himself over with those moves. But he was hitting his fadeaway shots. We haven't seen those shots in a long time for Kevin. It's about damn time that we saw those moves again, because I think he can definitely do it when he's playing about 25 minutes a game. He's a lot more fresh. We're seeing it tonight. He looks so much more fresh. Probably because he didn't have a super tough assignment on defense. I think that's definitely part of it. But he looked like a young, spry, what was young? Like a 32-year-old KG, a super young Kevin Garnett.
I think once in a while he pulls it out, and he can hit some pretty, because he's so big and because he's such a good shooter. I mean, that shot goes over almost all of the defenders. So when he's good at that shot, and he can, and we've seen him hit those jumpers. You know, not the turnaround and fadeaways as much, but I mean, he can stretch. We know he can stretch the floor, and when he's on, he hits some pretty ridiculous shots over defenders, and I think that really bothers the defender too. When you're playing right up on KG, it happened tonight. He hit the shot and he got fouled. I'm not sure who the defender was, but he just stood there like this after like nothing you could do about that.
Okay, so Celtics have Charlotte on Monday.
Yikes.
Is it a 6-game winning streak?
Trap game.
Kemba's going to score 40, so you know.
We'll have to see. It'll be a real test. Forget about guarding Harden. We'll see if Bradley can handle guarding Kemba.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's the Harden of the Eastern Conference right now, frankly.
Something like that.
Not really. All right.
The Harden of the podcast.
So let's make some announcements right now. Garden Report announcements. If you haven't heard, this show is now on iTunes in audio form.
Time.
So you can get the podcast on audio.
You don't have
on
to
your
look at
iPhone. Exactly. So you don't have to see our beautiful HD faces with the super bright LED light in my eyes right now.
Right.
But seriously, for those of you that are just listening to the show in the morning, getting ready, or you're driving to work, I don't want you looking down at your iPhone or whatever you're watching it while you're sitting on the pike about to run, probably rear end me in my car. So listen to the podcast if that's what you need to do. Of course, I prefer you watch the video because that's where it's at. That's what you need.
We don't wear this for nothing.
Oh no, I don't wear this for nothing. Especially not my shiny suit. But so go to iTunes on CLNS, search for CLNS Radio or the Garner Report on iTunes and subscribe there. And we're also broadcasting the show on CLNS Radio, the radio station. So you go to CLNSradio.com. It's a lot on one breath. And you click on the Listen Live page. We're broadcasting the show every single morning, so go to the site for the schedule, usually about 7:30 a.m., and you can listen to us being streamed live on the air, and of course get the podcast whenever you want. So we're audio, we're video, we're digital, we're analog, we're everywhere. We're in your face.
I checked out the podcast earlier today just to see, and there were a lot of podcasts about gardens. So don't get confused. Like, that's not us.
We can talk about gardens.
Scroll to the end.
Might be fun.
There's a lot of garden podcasts, so let's just make sure that we don't confuse people.
Yeah, no, you're up on your
gardening process. I mean, whatever.
We know you're up on your Azalea game, but you got to get up on your Celtics knowledge game. So search CLNS Radio. Will make it easy for you. Subscribe to CLNS Radio's podcast feed on iTunes. I want to give shout-outs to Babs, Alon, and Jeeks. I think I remembered all the ones I was supposed to give shout-outs for. Any shout-outs for you guys?
No, and I don't know who they are, but I second that.
Okay, I'm glad Jamie agrees.
Yeah. What?
Celtics win 103-91. This is the Garden Report. Thanks to Evans Clinchy and Jimmy Toscano from Celticsblog. My name is Jared Weiss. We'll see you Monday.